What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm in a hotel. I am in Houston, Texas this week, traveling for work, as usual. For the next 6 more weeks or something like that, I'm gonna be out and working my butt off. But that's great. I've got this kind of a weird setup right now. I have like no tripod, so I'm like mounting this on top of like stacked stuff right up next to this window because it's all right light right now. And there's like people walking by out there and I see them and they're like, what is this goofball doing sitting on his bed talking to the window? But whatever. I was at the gym and it hit me that I wanted to do a video about bullying, as you can tell by the title. I don't know, I wanted to do some story time here and talk about something that isn't just the positive aspect of everything and more about what you can do about the negative stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how to talk about this. And it's not like I'm doing this out of sympathy or anything like that. I'd like to share some experiences with you guys just because I want people to feel like they're not alone, right? I figure I'll just start rambling and we'll see where this goes. I know I do get a lot of messages from people that are being bullied in school or at home and they're asking for advice, and I hope that maybe that my experiences with it can kind of help you for those people that have been asking. I was not the pretty duckling growing up. I was an ugly duckling, I was. I had a super late puberty. I was 5.5 feet, 100 pounds, skinny little guy, mashed glasses to my face that I didn't really take care of. They were so geeky, they were so bad. I had big teeth that I hadn't really grown into. They were like goofy and wonky, and I had acne really badly, and I just didn't really care. I didn't wash my face. I didn't really think about any of that kind of stuff. And this is like, obviously like from age 12 to like 16. I just didn't really care about how I looked, and I didn't really think I needed to. All I really cared about in that time was video games. I only wanted to play video games. I was a big nerd, but I wasn't a smart nerd. I was just a nerd. Like, I just went home and played video games. I didn't actually even study or anything like that. All that I cared about was just playing RuneScape and World of Warcraft, these nerdy games. I still love them, but something that's all I really cared about. Doing that at home alone. Until mid to late high school, I would say 11th and 12th grade, I didn't even really have friends, really. People that I met and played with in video games were my friends. For the majority of school, from like ages 11 to like 16, my one really good friend was this one boy who was sort of like me. He loved video games, and he went to my high school and he went to my middle school. He was pretty heavy set, super goofy, super dorky, pimples, big glasses, very big nerd. And he had autism and didn't really know how to communicate correctly. And if you don't know what autism is, essentially it's a communication problem that they have, that the majority of it. There's a whole range of autism, but essentially he had a hard time communicating what he was thinking or saying to other people. And he and I got along very well. He was the smartest person I knew, and just brilliant, and loved to read and play video games. And I remember walking around the track, and we would be at like intramural sports after lunch, and he and I would sit together at lunch, obviously, and then we'd go and walk around and talk about all of these things in video games that we were passionate about. You know, kids would yell things at us a lot. They would poke fun at how we looked, or how we were dressed, or our goofy teeth, or our goofy glasses, and tell us we were nerds, and tell us we were stupid. Sometimes they would even make gay jokes, which was what was very funny. I mean, they would call us faggots and boyfriends and stupid stuff like that. And I didn't even know I was gay yet, really. So like, it's funny because I turned out to be gay, but I had no idea at the time. And I just kind of, you know, shoved it off, and I had my friend there with me, and that's all that I really needed. I was in a shop class. I went to Arkansas. We didn't have any really formal education. I wasn't that bad. It's just like we had several agriculture and shop classes, and there was this one that was out of shop, and you had to walk from the middle school over across the street and around to this shop that you had to go to for class. And I was so scared to do that walk because there was everybody had to walk over together about the same time between classes and walk alone without teachers there. Obviously, there were teachers at the shop and there were teachers at the school, but that walk in between, we were always by ourselves. I mean, it was Arkansas back in, you know, early 2000, like there was nothing going on. There was one boy that just loved to humiliate me. And because I didn't have my friend with me, I was alone in it and terrified. And I remember every day I would dread that 10 minutes when I knew I would be picked on by myself. He would ask, and just in front of everybody, and run up to catch up to me and bring his friends, and he would ask me things like, how does it feel to be a homo? And like, how does it feel to be the ugliest kid here? And like, what else? You must like hairy assholes, you faggot, and stuff, just stuff like that. I can remember him saying specifically those things. But I would always just kind of shirk it off and be like, whatever, like, you know, leave me alone. And then if I didn't answer him, if I didn't say anything, he would like push me. He would hit me, and you know, his friends would start pulling on my bag and stuff like that, and it was just humiliating. And if I tried to run, I mean, they would push me even more, you know? So usually I would try and time it to where I didn't have to go with them, but I just feel like a lot of times it ended up working out where they were able to catch up with me. And it was miserable, it was insufferable. And I can remember just that having such an aspect of my life that for hours during the day, that's all I was worried about. I couldn't even focus on school, I was just worried about this walk to class and getting picked on. And then there's one memory that really stands out for me. It's involving that same kid. So, I was on a school bus. When I was on the school bus, I would always just listen to my music. And I actually really liked classical music growing up, and I liked the scores from big productions like Harry Potter and Narnia and that kind of stuff. And I would literally just listen to that, and I loved that so much. And I can just remember sitting on the bus and I was listening to my Chronicles of Narnia soundtrack. I ended up sitting, we were like, I don't know if we were going on like a field trip or something, or I was going home. I can't remember exactly where we were going. We were coming to the school, so it must have been like coming back from something. And I had my bag with me, and I was sitting in a seat by myself, and I put my bag in my seat beside me, and just sitting there listening to my music or whatever. I really didn't have anybody to talk to on this bus. I was probably like 14 years old. And one of the kids obviously was trying to get my attention. I didn't say anything. I don't know, they started throwing paper balls at me or whatever. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just trying to ignore it. And then I felt my bag get pulled away from me, like beside me. And I mean, it's my backpack, you know, it's your personal stuff. And I just didn't even look away. I just kept looking out the window. I didn't know what they were doing with it. I didn't care. Well, it turns out everybody, all these kids are, you know, pulling all my stuff out of my bag and throwing it on the floor of the bus and throwing it around the bus. And I kind of like got a side glance as I saw one of my folders like fly up to the front of the, like 2 or 3 seats up, and didn't even do anything. I just looked out the window and I started crying. Like, I probably made it worse, the fact that I started crying, but I was upsetting. I was thinking about the fact that how am I gonna get all this stuff? Like, we're gonna get there and this is gonna be a big deal, and like, why does everything have to be a big deal to me? And so, I literally just sat there and looked out my window and cried. The bus came to the school and everybody got out and people like pushed me and stuff as I walked out. I'm like, what? I even remember thinking like, I thought, you know, I don't know why this happens to me, but like it does, so I'm just gonna take it. And then one of the last kids got off the bus and I started picking all my stuff up, and just remember I was just so upset. I felt so bad for myself. And I was picking up my things and putting them in my bag, and I was like, what do I do? Like, how can I make this not happen again? I didn't do anything. I thought, what can I do to make this not happen again? Are there any changes that I can make? I don't know what I feel comfortable with. And I didn't do anything. And I regret that. That's something that I wish that I would have done something about, because I feel like it would have made me feel a lot better. Literally all that got me through those times was holding on to the fact that I got to go home and play video games, or go walk around the track with my friend and talk about video games and things that I was passionate about. This kind of stuff continued. I mean, there were little things like that that I have memories of all the way through high school, until finally I started going through puberty, like 17, it felt like is when it was, 16, 17. And I started to grow and, you know, realize that everybody in high school was stupid and that it didn't matter, and no one was gonna like popularity in high school amounted to nothing later on. And once that kind of clicked with me, I was good. I got a job and made some friends through that. Actually worked at a Dairy Queen making ice cream, and I made some really good friends there, and they were my friends in high school. The biggest thing that I did though was I joined marching band. And at first, yeah, it was a little slow. Middle of high school, that was a group that I had, and those people were my family, and I had them to back me up, and there were just so many of us that no matter where I went, there was always somebody there to defend me, and it was so nice. And yes, there was cliques and popularity in high school band or whatever, but my group of friends were amazing in band, and they stuck up for me. So something that really affected me as well was in high school, I started to feel more comfortable with myself, and I'm still getting bullied. Because at this point I was openly gay, and somebody that I really cared about, that knew I was gay, saw me put on a shirt that said GAP, GAP, and they criticized me and said, you can't wear that shirt because it says gay and proud. And this is somebody that I cared about a lot. And this is somebody that I looked up to and that was important in my life and that knew I was gay. And so I can remember that just being like a sting, that was like a kick on my side. And I just remember thinking, I can't change everybody's mind myself, but you can. And I did. And now that person, I'm sure, is apologetic and would never say something like that now, just because of how much I've convinced them about how good it is to be gay and proud. I don't know, that's just something that stuck with me, and it was from somebody that really cared about, and at the time that hurt really badly. And maybe not directly bullying, but that was very criticizing, and it sucked. I don't say all of these things because I want sympathy from you. I'm not the victim. I mean, I don't want to play the victim here. I tell you this because other kids are messaging me and saying, I'm being bullied right now. What do I do? Help me. Like, what can I do to make this go away? First off, do not do what I did. Don't just take it as it is, because that's not true. That's not how this works now. I'm sure that bullying is very different now. I'm sure with social media and things that I really didn't have whenever I was that age are taking over the bullying world a lot. And I'm sure that it's different than what I experienced, but the fact still remains, if someone is threatening you, if someone is bullying you, if someone is saying things to you that are making you uncomfortable, you have to tell somebody. It sounds so stupid and everybody says that, but that is the only thing that eventually ended up settling anything for me, is getting help. Eventually, I figured that out, and I started to learn that too. But it just took me so long, because I was like, oh no, I can't get help because then it's gonna be embarrassing. But the thing is, it's not embarrassing if you tell the right person. If you're getting bullied at home, tell someone at school. Tell a teacher that you like. Tell your band instructor. A friend even can tell you, can help you, or a friend's parents, or I mean, literally anybody that you can connect with. Bullying at school, talk to your parents. Talk to your siblings. If you have siblings, talk to anyone that I just said in school as well. Don't try and do it by yourself, okay? That's how you get hurt. A lunch lady, tell a freaking lunch lady. I loved my lunch ladies. They were amazing, and they would have done anything they could have to help me. Someone will make some change that at least tells you what they can, that at least gives you some advice to tell you how to get away from it that's specific to your scenario. For me, maybe they would have said, let's let you get to class 5 minutes early every day so you don't have to walk out there with that kid anymore. Or maybe let's just make sure that you and this kid have some distance because we know he's gonna bully you. The kid doesn't have to know. No one has to get onto him. You just kind of end up getting separated, and that will help. It helps so much. I wish I would have done that. It would have saved me so much stress and heartache. And then I would have been able to focus on school. Then I wouldn't be so stupid. No. And it really doesn't have to be complicated, and somebody can help you. Just talk to somebody. Secondly, no matter how bad it is, and this took me so long to realize too, it will get better. It will get better. Those kids that are bullying you in high school, eventually I started to realize how I looked. I started to see myself in a mirror and say, you know, I don't want to look like this anymore. I want to do something different because of how I feel, because of what I want. I grew some, but I decided I was going to start exercising. Even at 16, I would exercise every now and then, or go for like a run or something silly that I knew was one time, but it still was better than nothing. Started eating more and trying to, you know, put on weight because that's what I wanted to do. And obviously I grew taller, but I got better fitting glasses. I thought about it whenever it came time for it, because before I was just so passive and I was like, whatever, I don't really care. But then whenever I started caring about it, I mentioned that, I said that. I want better glasses. I want better looking glasses at least, something that fits me. I got contact lenses, and then my life really changed. Whenever you get out of those glasses, honestly, it helped me a lot, because I was in these just nerdy, super nerdy, thick glasses too. And then I got a group of people that were there for me, and that really, really helps. One big thing that helped in high school too is then I changed the way that I thought about things. Instead of getting upset at myself and feeling down about myself, or instead of saying this is what I deserve or this is just how it is for me, I spun it. I remember I was sitting in class in high school one time and this kid was like, hey Andrew, I heard you're gay. And I was like, yeah, I am, what's going on? He was like, oh yeah, so you like hairy asshole? And I was like, I don't know, what's yours look like? Everybody around me started laughing. It was so funny. It's just like, you kind of spin it. This like was a specific scenario. I was sitting in a classroom where there was a teacher close by, so I knew he was gonna do anything to me, but like, obviously, I kind of just spun it around and like, I realized that I just had to look at it differently and see that these people have insecurities. The reason that they're bullying me is probably because they're being bullied at home or because they're being bullied somewhere else or their life isn't what they wanted. So you kind of have to realize that, you know? Even today, I get posts on my Instagram. Andrew, you only post shirtless selfies. Like, you're just so annoying. It's like, like, what are you taking the time to do this for? What's going on in your life? So just remember, those bullies are going through something themselves. To keep a light attitude about it and just remember that you're above that, okay? My autistic friend is now a very successful lawyer. He moved out of town. I'm an optometrist. I moved out of town and I'm very, very happy with my life. The kids that bullied us, I know, are still so miserable and unhappy, living a life that they don't want to be living. And that makes me feel really sorry for them. We're almost 30 now and they're still living like that. And I really hope that they get help and that they can realize themselves what's going on in their lives. Just keep your head high and do not be afraid to ask for help. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any tips for any kids being bullied? If you're being bullied and you need some help, comments below. People here are really good about offering the advice that they have. Get some help, but also you can write it down below. And if you have any tips, anything that helped you when you were in high school or middle school or now, anything, just leave it down below. Make sure you leave a thumbs up on this video if you like these kind of sit and talk videos where I tell you stories like this. Be sure you subscribe if you don't already. It helps me so much, you guys. Let's see. New videos coming out soon, hopefully. Just working away, so we'll see whenever I have time to release those and edit. Edit's the hard part. But anyway, love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon, and remember, never stop learning. See ya.